the scoreboard. Gentlemen, will you please come over here? Is this correct, gentlemen? You're going to kick this direction? You're going to kick this direction? All right, will you greet each other, please? Have a good game. Okay, Bellflower 1. And you're going to work on that side. That means I go down.
Okay, Bellflower, of course, won the coin toss. And they elect to receive. And we're just about ready to get underway. It'll be interesting to see tonight, Steve, if Downey can contain Mike Simmons. That's a big question.
Well, that's going to be the key tonight, whether or not the Downey team can go ahead and contain Simmons. Simmons really the main offensive threat that the Bellflower team has.
And as we mentioned in the pregame, new coach, very, very tough situation. This is something unlike I've ever seen before. And we've covered ball games here for many, many years in the Southeast area, and I've never seen 3 co-head coaches, but I think that's the best thing they could have done given the situation they had.
Well, Coach Bluth's taken over as of Monday, and he did take over a teaching position as well at the school. He's got his work cut out for him. You take over a program, the team's 0-3. He talked earlier in the pregame about not a real true leader on this ball club, and that's been a problem for him. They need to really go out there and just make things happen and execute the way they're capable of, and so far they've had their problems.
Well, as we all know, in the summertime, as it was, Mike Simmons and a few other the captains were basically the people leading the practices because they really didn't know who their head coach was going to be. Of course, Mike Harrington is now with Hart Newhall, who was a traditional powerhouse, and he's gone now, and I guess he took off a little late and didn't really give the administration here enough time to get a head coach.
Well, unfortunately, at this level, in the high school level, there is a lot of turmoil in coaching. A lot of times, coaches, of course, are usually very aspiring, that they want to get ahead, and when that college opportunity arises, many times they will go ahead and take it, and unfortunately it results sometimes in teams getting left high and dry.
And I think a lot of people, of course, were in Bellflower really excited about this year. Last year was the first really big winning season they had in a long time, and they were over there vying for a Suburban League crown, and unfortunately towards the end things just didn't work out that way, but still it was an exciting year indeed for the Bucks.
Well, we're getting ready to tee it up right here. And Bellflower, of course, has elected to receive.
As you mentioned, of course, last year Bellflower finished 8-3. They were 3-2 in league, finishing just behind La Mirada and Artesia. By the way, La Mirada and Artesia, 2 of the biggest schools as far as numbers go in the Suburban League. Division 3, we check out Downey. Downey last year was 2-4 on the year, 5-4 overall. And Downey, of course, got up to 3 quick victories last year, getting out of the blocks. And things just fell apart when they got to the San Gabriel Valley League.
Well, here's an interesting formation right here. I'm not exactly sure. Well, okay. And they dropped deep. It looked like they were faking the onside kick there, Rich. It was simply a ploy to spread out the kicking team.
This is what they do at Cerritos College on all their kickoffs. We're going to see a lot of things that Cerritos does, of course, because you got Dunaway and Diego heading the offense and the defense. Nothing wrong with that.
And there's the kick. Taken by Johnson. And Johnson will move it up, breaks a tackle, brings it around to the left side. And he'll go down at about the 25-yard line. And the Buccaneers will start from there, 1st and 10 at the 25.
Number 32 for the Vikings.
And, of course, the down man, of course, number 32 making a tackle. Let's set the offense.
At quarterback, no introduction needed. Mike Simmons, Jay Ginn at running back, John Hanna, the other running backs, Stacy Nolan, Ray Smith, and J.R. Ruggiero. The offensive line for the Buccaneers, Carl Balanak, Terrell Wilson, Jim Carr, Gutierrez, and Tony Volkman, a Division I college prospect. Here's the first play. And Simmons hands it to the first man through, and he is met at the line of scrimmage by a host of defenders.
Hun Jae Jin was the ball carrier. He just goes on a dive play. We'll set the defense for you. Demetrius Maxey will be the defensive tackle. 2 defensive ends, Joe Galasso and Jay Gutierrez. And, of course, Ellie Selman will be the other defensive tackle. The linebackers, Encarnacion, Rick Garcia, and Robert Bales. Interesting, Rick Garcia is just coming back after a broken leg. He was only out 3 weeks. Modern medicine.
And Simmons hands it off once again to Ruggiero, and gets nothing. Stopped at the line of scrimmage.
In on the tackle for the
Secondary, and we see Victor Johnson, Frank Valle, and we have Thompson,
third down.
and Rivao and Niria is the other defensive back. And we're going to be butchering a lot of names tonight.
A lot of tough ones to pronounce. It's going to be 3rd and long right now. We'll call it 10 yards, and we'll see what Mike Simmons wants to do. And he drops back. He wants to throw the ball, swing pass. It's caught, and it's pick up about 5, but it's going to bring on 4th and 5 in a punting situation.
Ruggiero, nice reception. Tried to cut back inside, but there was nothing there. And as you mentioned, it's going to bring up 4th down.
A short 5.
And there's a shot of Coach Dunaway.
All right, Ruggiero back deep. Excuse me, Ruggiero back to punt. Thompson will try to return. And it's a bad snap. Gets the kick off. And it's a low one that goes out of bounds at the 49-yard line of the Buccaneers. And Downey's going to start out with great field position.
On the Buccaneer 49, it'll be 1st and 10 Vikings.
So offensively, for the Downey Vikings, quarterback David Serta, tailback Jerry Phillips, Encarnacion going both ways. Fernando Valle is at one wide receiver, the other wide receiver Thompson, and tight end Omar Katab.
All right, Serta will operate out of the slot left with a single back in the backfield. And there's the pitch. And he turns it upfield for a good gain, and he's got some more. Pick up about 10 yards. He's close to a 1st down, but he's going to be a little bit short. That should bring on a 2nd and 1.
And there's the rest of the offensive line. Demetrius Maxey, Robert Bales, Tony Cusimano, Ed Lopez at the other guard, Eli Simon, and Omar Katab again, the tight end. And that sets the offense for Downey. Nice high stepping there by Jerry Phillips, getting some extra yards. Out to the 40-yard line.
Once again, he'll operate out of the slot to the right side. Victor Johnson in the backfield. And Serta pitches it out to Johnson along the right side. Johnson cuts it upfield. He's got the 1st down and a little bit more.
Now there you see the typical Washington Redskin offense. It's the one-back offense, and that's what they do at Cerritos. As we look at the defensive line, Scott Dayton at defensive tackle, Jimmy Lang, defensive tackle, and of course, Jamie Ratzlaff and Ray Smith. The linebacking core, we have Jacob Davis, the other linebacker, Sean Green, John Hanna, and Jay Jin, the linebacker. The secondary, Galbraith, Robbins, and Ruggiero.
All right, Serta did the Johnson straight up the middle, and Johnson's going to take this for about 7-8 yards. He drags a couple of defenders straight up the middle.
Victor Johnson had a big game last week against Pius 10. I believe 3 touchdowns in all in that game for him. Again, we're mentioning the offense for Downey. A lot of the things you're going to see are the things that Cerritos does. And again, they basically patted themselves after the Redskins. Joe Gibbs, of course, an ex-Cerritos College alumni and a Santa Fe High graduate.
Love that ball control offense. And Serta to the 1st man through, and it's Johnson once again. And he gets about 3 yards.
Johnson straight ahead. And a host of Buck tacklers bring him down.
Well, 3rd and short. What do you do in a situation like this, Rich?
Do what you've been doing. Probably, I would just run a pitch, run it to the out, and dare him to stop you. With the one back there, he's got a lot of room. He's got a good 7-8 yards of steam to get up, and all he has to do is hit the line, go through. It's short yardage.
Well, I think it looks like we're going to get Johnson straight up the middle, and that's exactly what the call is, and he's got that yard and more.
Inside the 25-yard line, it'll be a 1st down.
Yes, indeed, 1st down for Downey. Probably should have got Ken Such up here. Ken Such sitting below us from Paramount High School. Of course, Ken Martis from Norwalk High coming off a big victory last week against Gar. And they're all here tonight. They're all scouting Downey. And, of course, Ken Martis will be scouting Bellflower tonight.
Well, preparation is the key to winning at this game. And they're talking about a lot of coaches who have made their mark by being well prepared.
Oh, yes. Ken Such has done a marvelous job over at Paramount. We don't want to overdo Paramount, but geez, you know, they've been down for so long. And to do what they did last year is amazing. But right now we're concentrating on Bellflower and Downey. And Downey has a 1st and 10. Ball is inside the 30-yard line down to the 25.
Serta's going to go with wide flanker to his double flanker wide to his left. And he wants to throw the ball. And he's got a man wide open over the middle. That touchdown, good call.
Omar Khattab, or is it Kahab? Either way, Omar in for the score. 25-yard touchdown pass to the tight end.
25 yards.
And see if we get a shot of that again, just a little bit here.
20 yards.
And Serta looked him the whole way.
All right, here's the extra point. Will be coming up shortly. You know, it looks like they caught him in his zone defense, Rich. He just split the defenders, and then a good piece of running after he caught the ball.
Attempting the extra point.
We'll get a look at the replay after this extra point attempt.
James Gutierrez. Gutierrez is
And the kick is good.
good. And the Vikings lead.
We're going to take another look at that replay. Right now, Downey's out front, 7-0.
Let's go ahead and see the replay again. Look at Serta. He just drops back. He knows where he wants to go. And just, boom, quick release right over the middle. Omar Khattab up high. Nice catch. Couldn't have put that ball any better. And Khattab, the rest of it's just him. Spun around and go. But look how big he is. Freight train. Nice catch. Touchdown.
Well, we got 6:47 to go here in the first quarter. Downey taking their opening possession and marching all the way down. It's a 49-yard scoring drive, and they mixed it up quite well, the pass and run. Of course, the pass culminating in the touchdown.
Well, again, I'm telling you right now, the further along the season goes, the better Downey's going to get. And Coach Dunaway is very modest. But I've been telling him all along, I want to see you guys 5 weeks from now, because I think those guys are really going to be in the hunt in the San Gabriel Valley League. Keep in mind, the San Gabriel Valley League in the preseason last year, the most successful league, they only dropped 2 games in the preseason, winning 22. That's quite a story.
Well, Gutierrez is going to kick it off, and he has Galbraith and Johnson back deep. And this is going to be Galbraith. Galbraith takes the ball, he brings it up the middle, and he's got to pick up. It's about down to the 28-yard line. About a 20-yard return.
Galbraith brought down by Ed Lopez, number 56, just wrapped him up. Nice tackle. About a 24-yard return, ball out to the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 for Bellflower. This is an important series for the Buccaneers.
Well, it's good to come right back and try to put some points on the board, especially after being somewhat manhandled on that opening possession. Downey pretty much did what they wanted. Right now, though, Mike Simmons will try to get some offense moving. And he hands the ball off to the first man through, and he is met and with a fine tackle.
Jay Ginn, the ball carrier, picking up about 2 or 3 yards on the play. We'll see where the officials spot it. And looks like they're going to spot it at the 32-yard line. Going to be about 2nd and 7. Steve, the officials calling time. Okay, there they go.
Simmons operating now the I formation. And he wants to throw the ball. And he's got his man in Johnson. And it looks like he simply dropped the ball.
Yes, we were shielded here from our angle because of the players, but yeah, he didn't hang on to the ball. Looked like he was ready to take up. He's looking upfield, and he did what a lot of young players do. They take off before they catch the ball.
Well, we won't put that one in Johnson's highlight film, Rich. And to top it off, he did it in front of the bench with the coach standing right there, so you know he probably got an earful going back to the huddle.
Oh, yes. Although Coach Dunaway is not a high-strung individual, but I'm sure he got an earful.
Oh, a bad pitch. And
looks like the Vikings are going to, they can't advance it. It's just going to be dead. It's not like pro football or college where you can pick it up and keep going. The ball's dead right there. Nice recover by Downey. I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure. I think he was trying to pitch it out to John Hanna, if I'm not mistaken, and just was not there. I don't know if Hanna didn't run up to snuff or what.
It looked like he ran too wide and didn't run deep enough, and the pitch was simply way behind him. And now Downey's knocking on the door once again.
Oh, yeah, first turnover. They're down to the 12-yard line, 1st and 10.
Victor Johnson.
And Johnson bangs it off the right side for a pickup about 2. It's going to make it 2nd and 8.
Buccaneers, number 13, Cedric Robbins.
So Dunaway, as he mentioned his game plan during the week when we interviewed him, he said he's going to try to mix things up. He wasn't really impressed with his quarterback last week against Pius 10, and maybe that's why their tailback gained 167 yards last week.
Well, that was a big win for him last week. Just put some points on the board.
38-0 over Pius.
And sort of drop backs. He wants to throw, and it's complete. And I don't have a number, but he is knocked out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. And it will be about 3rd and 2.
Looks like Jerry Phillips was on the receiving end of that ball. Check. Yes, it was Jerry Phillips.
Down to about the 5-yard line, where it'll be 3rd
So they're
down.
crediting Phillips with a 5-yard reception, and they're just 3 yards shy of a 1st down, and they are driving.
And Serter gives the ball to the first man through, and he picks up about, it's close to the 1st down, I believe. Pick up about 3. Just power running straight up the middle there.
Well, they're going to use Victor Johnson a lot tonight. I think we're going to see a little bit of Rick Garcia. Rick Garcia, as we mentioned before, broke his leg, and I'm real surprised to see number 33 back in so quickly. He is a senior, so that may have a lot to do with it. He's 5'11", 190 pounds, but hey, 3 weeks coming back. And I asked Coach, I said, any protection on there? He says, no, maybe it wasn't, it was just like maybe a hairline crack or something, but it's already mended, and he doesn't feel any pain, so put him out there.
Well, they're down on the 1-yard line with a 1st and goal. Couldn't ask for anything better than this. And once again, it's Johnson off the left side, but
Check that, that's Jerry Phillips.
excuse me, Phillips.
And Phillips
Tackle on the play for the Birds, Marcus Galbraith.
getting ever so much closer. How much closer can you get now here, Steve? Well, however, we've seen St. Paul get down to the 1-inch line last week and had 2nd and goal, and they couldn't get it in. But your Plains Fontana, that may have a lot to do with it. State's top team.
Well, it'll be 2nd and goal from the 1.
Full house backfield.
Jerry Phillips.
And Phillips bangs it in for the touchdown. Touchdown, Downey.
Just nothing special about that. Full house backfield. You send the 2 fullbacks forward, try to create a hole. You're only going to go for a yard. And here again, this is something you'll see a lot of this year.
Attempting the extra point, James Gutierrez.
Gutierrez now will attempt the extra point.
And it's good. And Downey out front, 14-0. 3:21 to go here in the 1st quarter. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We are back with 3:21 to go in the 1st quarter. So far, it's been all Downey Vikings. They're up 14-0, and pretty much continuing where they left off last week, Rich.
No doubt about it, Downey on a roll, and I've mentioned before, and I don't want to sound too redundant, but you got to credit Dunaway and Diego. Now, they have a huge coaching staff, but those are the 2 I'm most familiar with, so I can talk about them. And, you know, I know what I'm telling you is real, but Dunaway's just a class act.
And here's Gutierrez's kick. And it's fielded by number 17. He brings it straight up the middle. Breaks the tackle. And a good piece of running up to about the 33-yard line.
That was Cedric Robbins on the return, and Robbins able to bring it out to the 33, and Bellflower again will start off in their side of the field. Some important for Bellflower to at least drive back and get a good drive out of this, even if they don't score.
And Simmons rolls out to his left. He's got two going deep, and he throws the ball for Stacy Nolan, but he just overthrew him there.
Nolan, a big target, 6'3", only 150 pounds, so I think he can fly a little bit. I don't know if he's quite the caliber of a Kevin Lazard, was one of the young outstanding wide receivers they had last year. Bellflower last year had 3 LCIF selections on that ball club, included Mike Simmons.
Well, Simmons will operate out of the I formation. He goes with a double flanker to his right side again, and he's going to pass it. Little swing pass out to
Looked like there was a screen pass,
but just didn't work.
Looked like there was a screen developing on that. You've seen the 2 tackles in the guard out in front, and just a little bit over his head, as you mentioned.
They didn't execute that right, Rich. When you set up that screen, you got to drop back behind the line of scrimmage. They were headed downfield before the pass was in the air.
Well, the ideal situation, and Mike Simmons, you know, being an LCIF selection, he's a smart kid, and you have to look off. You have to look the other way as the screen's developing to the opposite side, and then just dump it off. The wall was there.
And Simmons with the completion. And that's Ray Smith out on the flat. It's going to be a pickup of about 6 yards.
Depending on the play for the Vikings.
That time he had some pretty good protection and got the ball away. And if you give Mike Simmons any amount of time, I don't care how much, he's going to hurt you.
Unfortunately, it'd be a punting situation for the Bellflower team. 4th and 3.
J.R. Ruggiero will punt. Nice high kick. There will be no return on this. Ball going out of bounds, and the officials, where are they going to mark it? And it looks like they're going to mark it at about the 42.
Well, Downey's going to start out with good field position once again.
Check that. They're calling it the 46. It's hard at this angle to see what that ball was. Such a high kick.
And there's 2:05 to go here in the first quarter. And I don't still think they... Okay, here we go. They'll call it the 46-yard line. Serta out of the I formation. And he gives it the second man through. And there's a fumble on the play.
Still loose, and it's recovered by number 21, and we're talking about Ruggiero. So big, this is what the Bucks needed. They needed the turnover. Downey's got one, now the Bucks got one. However, Downey had it down at the 12. The Bucks are going to get it right about midfield.
Well, the Bucks really, with a golden opportunity for the Bucks. Here's a replay, Rich.
Let's see if we can see what happened on this play. And it doesn't look like number 28, Jerry Phillips, ever got the ball.
The exchange looked good from the quarterback. He
Yes.
just not get the handle on it. So fumble, and Buccaneers recover.
That was a long fumble, too.
Simmons rolls to his right. He's going to take it himself. And a good pickup of about 7 yards before he's brought down.
Simmons looked like he was going to run the option on that. He had number 45 trailing him. We're talking about John Hanna. And electing to take it himself is Mike Simmons. And there's Coach Dunaway talking to one of his players. And we got to try to get a number on him. He's talking to number 13, Cedric Robbins, a defensive back.
2nd and 5 from the Downey 44-yard line. And
Simmons again.
Simmons on the keeper, and he pitches it out. And there's a good pickup there, about 6 yards. That was Hanna getting the ball that time.
That's the same play. They just ran it the opposite way.
Exactly.
And this time he elected to just pitch it out to Hanna, and Hanna picking up a few yards on that.
Well, it's going to bring up a 3rd and 4 situation. What do you do here, Rich?
3rd and 4, I think either you run the option again or try to pass it. I don't think Simmons, though, he's only connected on a swing pass and one over the middle.
Well, he's got Nolan and Ruggiero on his right side, and he throws that ball complete. And that's going to be a first down for Downey. For the Buccaneers. Ray Smith, his favorite target, the tight end.
Ray Smith again. coming up with a big reception, and Bellflower. Now this is the deepest penetration they've had so far. Let's see this again. We see Simmons looking over the field and says, "Ah, there's my man." A quick release by Simmons, and just snaps it through. Nice defense there, though, by Terry Thompson for Downey.
Well, it's first down inside the 35-yard line.
Jay Ginn wrapped up as the first quarter comes to a close.
Well, there's the gun. The first quarter is over. It's 14-0 Downey. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Started the second quarter, just getting ready to go underway. I'm Steve Gelman along with Rich Australia. 14-0 Downey. Downey pretty much owned that quarter, Rich.
Yes, indeed. And I think one thing they have been successful in the first quarter is containing Simmons, not giving him a whole lot. Right now, the Buccaneers are going to operate, and we're looking at, according to 2nd and 10, and the ball is at the 35-yard line of Downey, their deepest penetration thus far, Steve.
Well, Coach Dunaway out on the field. And we are ready to start.
First and 10, Bellflower, the ball on the Vikings, 35-yard line.
And Simmons takes it himself, and he pitches it out. And he's got a lot of running room on the right side as he turns it up the middle for a pickup of about 16 yards. Make it 12.
I don't want to take a guess, but I think there was a face mask call against Downey.
If that's the case, Rich, that will negate a very good gain by Hannah. Here's a replay, Rich.
As we take a look at the replay, actually it was a holding call, not a face mask, but the flag was thrown in the secondary. Once he passed the line, you see Simmons taking a shot, and of course now we're looking at John Hannah. Hannah running hard, and boom. He would have had first down yardage. But a holding penalty is going to bring that all back, going to negate that.
And that was the finest running play that the Bucs have been able to put together so far in this game.
Simmons starting to run the option a little bit. And Hannah has a lot of running room back there.
Sure does. That's going to make it 2nd and very long. And let's see what Simmons wants to do. He's going to throw.
Play action.
And this time they get the screen off. And I believe that's complete to Ginn, and Ginn bangs it up front for pick up about 9 yards they get back.
Downey playing tough defense. Ted Irwin in on the stop. Downey's not going to give up a lot. I think they're a much better defensive ball club this year than they were last year.
7-yard line. It will be third down.
And then we have a shot, of course, the assistant coach there for Bellflower.
3rd and 13 for the Bucs.
Talking about what they want to do on defense when they get back out on the field.
All right, it's 3rd down, and we'll call it 13. Mike Simmons is going to throw. He rolls to his left. There's a flag on the play. He's going deep for number 9. That was Stacy Nolan, but that ball was overthrown, and we have another flag.
I believe it's going to go against the Buccaneers. Whenever you have that much time to throw, there's usually somebody grabbing onto a jersey. I don't know if we're going to be able to see this again and pick it up, but I would guess it would be a holding penalty again. No, they're going to call procedure this time. I'm going to stop guessing these things.
Well, I'll imagine that the Downey will go ahead and decline that. It brings up a 4th down.
Simmons just gave you a good idea of how strong that arm is. Took a drop, and he threw that ball some 50 yards in the air.
It'll be 4th down.
So he's got an arm on him.
And that will bring on the punting unit.
Oh, Bellflower again. This is the deepest penetration they had, and they started going backwards once they hit the 35, and now they're out to about the 37 or 38-yard line. And as you mentioned, Steve, they're going to kick.
Terry Thompson back deep for Downey.
Ruggiero will punt.
Bad snap, and not a very good kick either, but it's going to take a good roll. And Jason Collier downs the ball inside the 15-yard line.
Well, actually at the 14, and well, 1st and 10 for Downey.
Well, it's 14-0 Downey. It's been all them so far. They've moved the ball pretty well.
22-yard punt. As you mentioned, it wasn't a good one, but it did take a nice roll.
And we've got a timeout on the field by the referees.
Timeout on the field. Officials timeout.
Okay, the officials call time back in.
There's 10:20 and counting here in the second quarter. 14-0 Downey.
David Serter over the ball for the Vikings.
And Serter gives the ball. There's a big hole up the middle as he rips it for about 15 yards.
Victor Johnson brought down by Jacob Hicks.
Victor Johnson,
Out after
the ball carrier, had a big hole up the middle and just took advantage of it, powered his way through.
ball being moved out.
And a first down for Downey. Or check that, very close, yes indeed.
4-yard line.
About a yard shy. There you see the hole again, just wide open. Boom, I could have ran through that. And Johnson does it a lot better than I do. Brings up second down, about a half yard.
And Serta wants to throw. He's going to go long, and that ball overthrown, but he had a man open. And Terry Phillips just did not get the ball to him.
Jerry Phillips.
Phillips being met stride for stride, though, by Cedric Robbins.
Cedric Robbins.
But had Phillips caught that ball, who knows how far he would have went. And it's going to bring up a third down, about a half yard to go.
Well, Downey's really controlled the line of scrimmage. I would expect something short, straight up the middle.
Officials timeout.
And we've got another timeout on the field by the officials.
Looks like we might have an injured player. Number 73 walking off the field, Daniel Green. It looks like his shoulder might be a little sore. He's letting that right arm just kind of dangle.
And Serta hands it off. And he is met at the line of scrimmage, but the second effort there, and he breaks free. It is a foot race to the end zone. He's at the 30, the 20, the 10, touchdown Downey.
And to top it off, we have a flag. I hope they don't bring this thing back because that was, the flag's down. It was a 75-yard touchdown run. They threw a flag back at the 32, and it'd be just a shame to call this back. And there it is, illegal block against Downey. They're going to bring it back, so forget it.
Rich, that was an absolutely senseless block.
And I don't see why the officials threw it, unless somebody really got nailed and got an injury out of it or something. This isn't right.
Well, I'll tell you, Tony Carcione, he hit the line of scrimmage. I lost him amidst the defenders, and then he just broke out of that, and it was all alone.
I'd like to see this one again. I'm going to see who did this because he was so far in front of the world, so far in front of everybody. There you see him, Tony Encarnacion. It's the proper pronunciation. And here he comes, second, third effort. He breaks it. Now look at, there's about 8 shirts behind him. He's all alone. There's nobody around him for miles. Somebody clipped, very foolish, and I'm sure Coach Dunaway is going to look at the films and see who did that, and somebody's going to get spanked.
Well, they definitely owe the team a few laps.
In a close game, maybe, but I don't know. But again, a legal block, and it's going to bring it back, and it's just stuck because that was a great run by Encarnacion.
Well, it's from the point of infraction, so if there's any good that came out of that, it won't push them back to the original line of scrimmage. They will take over inside Buccaneer territory at the 47.
You hate to see that happen, you really do, especially from scrimmage, and he gave such a great effort on that.
And Serta pitches it out. And Phillips has got some running room, but he's quickly met. But not before he picks up about a yard or so.
Again, the official spot, he got about 2 yards on that, so we're going to look at 2nd and 8. And one thing you notice about Downey, they don't run a lot of motion. They just get set in their offense, and they just dare you to stop them. No frills.
Take a look at the Buccaneer coaching staff.
Some of the brain trust there, and some of those guys out there, of course, we're all sharing the head coaching duties. And the officials call another time we have an injured player, Cedric Robbins, hopping off on a leg. So far we've lost Daniel Green for Downey, number 73, who's having his arm worked on. And now we see Cedric Robbins with some type of leg injury. Looks like it might be a knee. Ugh. You hate to see that.
And Serta wants to throw the ball. Looks left, got him in, and that ball was dropped by
Victor Johnson.
Victor Johnson.
It looked like it went right through his hands. I don't know if Victor was looking back. The ball was just there.
Well, it was a little bit high, but I thought he should have handled it.
Now we're going to be looking at a 3rd down, still 8 yards to go. Not a bad crowd for a Thursday night ball game. A lot of
No,
people
not
turning
at all.
out tonight on both sides. Well, these are neighboring cities, so you'd expect that. They're not in the same league, so. Encroachment in high school football. The minute the defensive lineman crosses the offensive line, it's an automatic penalty. There's no such thing as offsides. Where in professional ball, you can go ahead and encroach and then get back before the snap. In high school ball,
We
once you
have
cross that
offside.
line, you're dead.
5-yard penalty.
No contact, no third down.
None at all.
Well, that makes it a little bit easier. 3rd and 3 now.
Yes, indeed.
And Serta brings the play in.
40-yard line.
And we've got a, okay, here we go. Referee's making a lot of arm movements out there tonight.
They're working out. They got to get it's preseason still. They're still working their bugs out too.
Behar and Thompson wide to the right. Lone setback. And he wants to throw the ball, and he's looking left. Serta's going to go long. And that ball's badly thrown, picked off. And
Marcus Galbraith.
Galbraith, who just had to wait for that one, and he returned it about 3 yards, and the Buccaneers will take over on their own 17.
You know, Serta had a lot of time, but he was rolling away. Usually when you see a quarterback throw when he's rolling to his right, but this time he was rolling to his left, and it's very, very difficult. But watch the line. Look, good blocking for Downey, but he's already had 3-4 seconds of time, and he just lets it fly. And as you mentioned, Steve, just a poorly thrown pass. But he had a man. Look at Victor Johnson all alone out there, just waiting.
Well, Bellflower gets a break right there. And Simmons wants to throw the ball. And he's got a man wide open over the middle, but that pass is dropped by Stacy Nolan. No excuse, Rich.
None at all. It was right in Nolan's hands. And I don't want to make comparisons, but Kevin Lazard was such a player last year, and I think Simmons, you know, remembers that. Every time Lazard was like Lester Hayes with all that stick-em, he can catch anything. And he knew what to do with it once he got it. But again, I think the Buccaneers still working out a few bugs. Give them some time. They'll come around.
Well, it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 with just over 8 minutes to go here in the second quarter. 14-0 Downey. Buccaneers trying to get something happening. And Serta drops. Quarterback draw, and he brings it up the middle for a pickup of about, well, we'll call it almost 10 yards. That's closer to 1st down.
Yeah, Mike Simmons took a step back and then just took it up, and that was a planned play. That was not a busted play. So Simmons showing some versatility. He can run.
And it is a 1st down. Here's the replay, Rich.
Watch Simmons. Takes 2 quick steps. 1, 2, says, okay. Tuck the ball away. I'm gone. Look at that big hole he had. Nobody was expecting that. Boom. Ooh. Nice stop. He was down, definitely down before the ball was fumbled.
Well, they'll go 1st and 10 from their own 27. And Simmons rolls left, fakes the pitch, and is smothered at the line of scrimmage.
Not going to second guess him. Obviously, he's seen something that we didn't. He was faked the pitch to Hanna, and Hanna didn't have anybody by him. He might have picked up a few yards. Instead, Simmons is going to take a loss on that. Actually, they're going to credit him back at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a yard. See where they spot it.
Well, they give him a yard, a charity spot, I believe. But I don't think I would have pitched it. But then again, he might have saw daylight and tried to turn it up.
Keep in mind, this is Doug Bluth's first week, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And you're playing a good Downey ball club.
And Simmons drops back. He wants to throw. Got a man wide open over the middle, and it's picked off.
Victor Johnson.
And that ball just deflected off Johnson's hands and went into the other Johnson's hands.
Yes, indeed. And again, we've seen a few drop passes for Mike Simmons, and it gets frustrating. It's very frustrating, but again, Simmons is a leader, and I'm sure he's going to overcome this.
A little too much on this pass, you think, Rich?
Hard to say. You see Simmons, he just drops back, lets it fly. I don't think so. Because, like, again, I'm not trying to make comparisons, but Lazard, it was a lot taller, too, but he could catch anything. catch a bowling ball coming out of the sky from an airplane 30,000 feet, no problem.
Well, it'll be 1st and 10 for Downey on their own 45-yard line. And Serta gives it to first man through, Johnson. Johnson gets nothing.
This time I'm going to say there was a face mask on that. The side judge threw the flag, and he had the best angle on that one. It looked like they might have got him around the face. We'll wait and see, though. I've been wrong twice tonight.
Not this time, Rich. Good call.
All right, go 15, end of the run.
.333. That's not very good.
And they still have the heavy industrialized 15-yard versions, regardless of whether it's on purpose or not.
At this level, you really got to discourage that, because these are young men, and they're not collegiate players with 22-inch necks or pro athletes. And hey, it just takes one grab of that mask to rip somebody's head off, and they're through.
Be a first down at the 40-yard line. Started with the ball, and
this was going to be. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. This was going to be a gadget play, I'm sure. It looked like it was going to be a flea flicker. If we could see that again, you could see he turned and looked like he was going to.
I'm not sure what he was trying to do. I don't know if he missed the first man going through. He wanted to give it to him. It could have been a gadget play.
I guess we'll never know, Steve.
But it was a pickup, and
let's see if we could see this again. And watch number 28, Jerry Phillips. It looked like he was going to turn around and pitch it back to Serta. Now watch Serta. He's standing there. It looked like he was going to receive it. He turned. No, he was just spinning. Okay. Just the same, Phillips picking up just a couple of yards. Looking at 2nd and 7.
Serta wants to throw. He drops back. Over the middle. It's got a man wide open. That ball's caught. And there's a fumble on the play. And the Buccaneers recover inside their own 5-line. Big break for the Bucs.
Second turnover for Downey. And you see big number 89, Omar Khattab. And he scored on that play last time. But he fumbled it. And the Buccaneers get a good break. But look, they got lousy field position. But I guess it's better than having the Vikings driving. There you see Serta dropping back. And he has his target. Nice grab. And then boom, we got number 4, Johnson, putting the stick on him, and boom. Ball falls loose, and finally number 13, Robbins, jumps on it. That's Robbins, the one we seen come out with an injury earlier, Steve.
Well, I think the Bucs are going to have to work on that zone defense. They're getting burned long up the middle. And Simmons gives the ball to first man through, and he gets about 6 yards. And Encarnacion on the tackle. It's going to make it about 2nd and 5. .420 to go here in the first half. 14-0. Downey. And got another flag on the play. You want to go out on the limb, Rich, and take a guess at what this one is? I have no idea why that flag
At this point,
went.
they're looking like midgets from here. It was just so much confusion right there in the middle.
We have face mask
Yes, indeed.
on defense.
And this time it's going against the
Spotting
Vikings.
foul. End of the
Well, I guess they're trying to even up the face mask calls. And that's going to give them a first down. And give them some breathing room. Something they needed.
33-yard line, and it'll be a first down for the Vikings. 4 minutes.
And there's a shot at Doug Bluth there on the sidelines. Gentleman, successful at other programs. He coached in Utah and most recently in Arizona at the JC level. So a man with a ton of experience.
11 years. And it's 1st and 10 at the 33. Simmons trying to make something happen here before the end of the half, and he wants to throw the ball. Got a man wide open over the middle, and it's a foot race. Nolan's on his way. He's at the 20, the 10. Stacy Nolan's going to take it in. Touchdown, Buccaneers.
Stacy Nolan having a party in the end zone. 61-yard touchdown pass to Stacy Nolan. And here we see it again. Simmons, nice toss over the middle. And look at Nolan this time. He makes sure he catches that ball before he takes off. And now it's a foot race. And Terry Thompson just does not have the foot speed of Stacy Nolan. And it's 14-6, and it looks like the Buccaneers are going to go for 1. Ruggiero will attempt the extra point. Are they going to go for 2? Coach Bluth, I think, is going to burn a timeout here. This is important.
It is, and that's exactly what he's going to do, Rich. He's going to take a timeout. The half is running out. He's not going to be able to utilize all 3 anyway. Go out there, talk it over, and see what you want to do. He obviously he's probably going to go for the 2 points, otherwise he wouldn't have called it.
I would. There you see the gentleman again. 11 years at high school level at Utah, 2 years the JC level over in Arizona. His first week, it's tough. This is a very tough situation. But again, it's a tough situation for the Downey guys too. Even though they're local and they coach at the college level, it's their first year as well. You never know what's going to happen. And not knowing a lot about Doug Bluth, again, he's just been named this week. It's very difficult to try to read him and see what he will do. But I think we're both going to agree here. They're going to go for 1.
Well, it's going to be 1, not 2.
Officially, that was a 68-yard. We had reported 61, but it's a 68-yard touchdown pass from Simmons to Nolan.
And Ruggiero back, trying to make it a 14-7 ball game. High snap. He bobbles it. Man, nothing happening there. Should have went for the 2 in light of what just happened.
Well, how would they say? Hindsight is 20/20.
You got it. Well, with 3:35 to go here in the first half, 14-6, Downey. We'll be right back. Jason Collier back for the kick. 14-6, Downey. And the Buccaneers capitalizing on a big play, a 61-yard touchdown reception by Stacy Nolan. And they're right back in this game.
Yes, indeed. And it's just too bad they didn't convert that extra point. That may come back to haunt them in a close one. You never know. I know we know the Bucs are down so far up to this point in the season, but anything can happen.
And it's a squibber down the middle, fielded cleanly. And he brings that ball up for not a bad pickup. I think that was one of the bigger guys who just put his head down and used that body leverage to pick up about 8 or 9 yards.
Bobby Rower, of course, he's a senior. He's the nose guard. 6 feet. They have him listed at 184, but I think he's pushing 200 myself.
He looks a lot bigger than that.
Not bad run, though, for a big guy.
Try him out at the fullback position maybe later on this season.
And the Buccaneers are getting into it now.
And Sutter, he pitches the ball. And it's taken around the right side, breaks the tackle, picks up about 3 yards. That was Jerry Phillips on the carry. And it's going to make a second and about 5.
Jerry Phillips, not very big. He's a junior, 5'11", 200 pounds. It's as big as some of the linemen out there. But you can look at guys like a Bruce Walker Dominguez, 6'4", 240. Fontana had some big ones too. Phillips, though, does run real hard.
And Sutter drops back. Looks right, wants to throw left. And he's sacked behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of about 6 yards, Rich.
Sack there. Chad Whitney making the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Serta this time, I don't think he took too many steps back. Looked like he was going to take a quick drop, maybe looking for somebody over the middle. And they just circled him, and he went down.
He did. There's a replay, Rich.
Number 78, watch him again, Whitney, 6'2", 205. He's just working his way through the line. And you don't think he'd be able to catch Serta, being as big as he is. Back to live action.
All right, passing situation for Downey, and Serta wants a timeout.
Apparently he's seen something he did not like. And it's crucial right now. It's 14-6.
This game far from being a romp, although Downey has controlled pretty much, with the exception of that big play by the Buccaneers. It is 3rd and 12 for Downey right here. Serter at quarterback. Passing situation.
And we're just coming out of the timeout, so this thing should work.
Serter drops back. Wants to throw out to the right side, and that ball is
It's
caught.
not in bounds.
Absolutely spectacular catch by number 15.
He was in bounds.
Terry Thompson.
Sorry about that, Steve, but he was in bounds. One of the officials was saying, the Bellflower staff's going, no, but he was in bounds. Beautiful catch. Total concentration.
Deflected pass, and if you saw him plant his 2 feet, and here's a replay, Rich.
You see Serta. Serta's looking at him all the way, and that doesn't really help, but that's what young quarterbacks do. They look for their initial target, and there's the tip, and there's the catch, and his feet were in bounds, and Sean Green was the defender who tipped the ball.
And Serta wants to throw it again. He's got a man open wide over the middle, and he just overthrows that, going to Omar Khattab, and if he had caught that, it was 6 points.
Well, Khattab, we know he can catch a football, and he can also run, and he can run with some authority. You've seen it.
Well, it was slightly overthrown. It was certainly a catchable ball. I don't know if I would put all the blame on Khattab's shoulders for that, though. But it's going to be 2nd and 10. 1:33 to go here in the first half. Serter drops back. Looks down the middle. Puts it out to his release man, and that ball is simply dropped. Went to a secondary receiver, and no excuse for that. There wasn't a defender within 10 yards of him, Rich.
One thing I'm watching right now, away from that, is the line play. Number 77 for the Vikings. And we're talking about Robert Bales. I don't know what the official was yelling at him for. He was just doing his job. The offensive line for Downey doing the job on the Bellflower defenders. They knock the defensive tackles down, and the rule is to lay on them. Once you get your man down, the best thing an offensive lineman can do is just lay on the defensive player. And apparently tempers were flaring out there.
Well, it's 3rd and long. Sort of an obvious passing position again. Looks left. He's going to throw long. Got a man out in the flat. That ball intended for Fernando Valley, but a little bit overthrown. And it's going to be 4th and 10.
This time, number 73, Scott Dayton, and he had a little help there. Got some penetration on Serta, but again, the Downey line is doing a good job offensively blocking.
Well, it's 4th and 10. You're at the 39. Punt it?
I don't think so. I'd go for it here. What do you have to lose? If you punt it, you're only going to pin him back maybe the 10.
And that's exactly what Coach Dunaway is going to do.
What's 25 yards?
Exactly.
Especially with a minute to go.
Sort of drops back, a draw up the middle, and a good pickup. He's inside he's down about the 20-yard line.
Encarnacion. There you go, the fullback on the draw play. Perfect call right here. I think everybody was looking for the pass, and that's why this play works so well.
Here's the replay, Rich.
There you see Encarnacion in the backfield again, the lone tailback, and we'll have to come out of this. No, out of this quickly. But there you see Encarnacion, big hole. The rest is up to him, and we just seen him run 75 yards for a touchdown. They called it back. Let's get back to live action.
And Serta wants to throw. Got a man open on the flat, wide open, and he simply goes out of bounds. Stops the clock with less than a minute to go, 57 seconds. And that was simply to save a timeout, I think, Rich.
I think so. Victor Johnson, number 42, smart tailback, and of course the receiver and a linebacker. He does everything. And I think you're right. I think he did it to stop the clock and save some of that precious time. It's a close ball game.
57 seconds to go, 14-6, Downey on top. But they're knocking on the door again at the 20-yard line. It's going to be 2nd and about, well, we'll call it 8.
They spot the ball just inside the 20-yard line. 57 seconds to go.
Serta goes with the double flanker to his right side once again. He wants to throw. Got a man open on the flat, gonna go over the middle, and that ball is intercepted at the goal line by the Buccaneers.
Ruggiero.
And Ruggiero returns it about 9 yards to the 9-yard line, and a big play coming at the end of the half here, Rich.
And I think Coach Dave Bluth, if Ruggiero was standing in the end zone, I think he should have just taken a knee, brought it out to the 20, and Coach Bluth is mad about something. Here you see Serta has plenty of time. Just made a poor choice, I think, throwing over the middle with a lot of traffic and overthrew his receiver.
And he gets it just over the goal line.
Yes.
It's on the 1.
So just the same, the ball is now at the 7-yard line, 1st and 10 for Bellflower. They only have 32 seconds to work with this.
And the clock's running. And it's to the first man, straight up the middle. And that should kill the half, unless Downey wants to call a timeout.
I don't think so at this point. I think Bellflower is going to try to do something with it. Let's see what they do. Yeah, Bellflower is probably going to try to run some semblance of a 2-minute offense. It's an opportune time. There's only 20 seconds to go. You're 90 yards from a score, and maybe it might be some time to run some of this stuff. We see Coach Doug Bluth just got the head job this week. Doing a good job.
I think so. I kind of like his style so far. He went for the 2 points. A conservative coach would have went ahead and just kicked the extra point. Excuse me, he went for the extra point, but we thought he was going to go for the 2 points. Now he calls a timeout inside his 10-yard line. He obviously wants to put some points on the board. Again,
Not knowing Coach Bluth, as we do the other coaches in the area, it's really hard to gauge what he may do, what his tendencies are. But again, he seems like such a real gentleman, but at the same time, he has that sternness. Kind of reminds you a little bit of Dave Newell of Bell Gardens.
Well, it's 2nd and 8. Simmons getting the instructions, and he wants to throw. We got a man wide open over the middle. That's Stacy Nolan. He's a big catch. Nolan cuts it in the inside. Nolan is going to go all the way. This is going to be a 91-yard touchdown pass. Touchdown Buccaneers.
And boy, did they fool us. We're talking 2-minute offense. That's like the 10-second offense. We see Nolan over the middle. Nolan just outruns everybody, and it's deja vu for Terry Thompson, number 15. Just couldn't get him. He couldn't get him last time. And look at, I love it. I love it. That's number 8. And again, I'm just check that. That's Ray Smith.
Oh my! I blew the call.
That's Ray
I stand
Smith.
corrected.
Let's credit Ray Smith with that catch. And Ray Smith going 91 high step, but they look a lot alike. Let's put it that way.
Well,
they're both 6'2", 6'3", and they're both
exactly, and they have the same running style.
Exactly. It's one
That
digit.
doesn't. I stand corrected. Let's credit that touchdown to Ray Smith. He certainly deserved it. It was a fine piece of running after he caught the ball. He shattered a couple of defenders, and now I am going to go on record as saying that without a doubt, I think we can plan on Coach going for the 2 points.
Oh yeah. And again, as we mentioned, Smith and Nolan, both same style. They're both the same size. One's a little bit heavier. Ray Smith is got about 30 pounds, maybe 25 pounds on him. I don't think he's quite 190, and that's what it lists him at. He looks more like about 160, 165, but he high-stepped it at the end. He heard some footsteps, and he just turned it on. Beautiful play.
Well, the Buccaneers elected to go with the same play that went ahead and got him 6 points the first time. Of course, they run Smith instead of Nolan, and the results are the same. If you're Coach Dunaway, you got to be concerned about that. Defensive lapse, especially late in the game. Only 6 seconds to go here in the first half. And Simmons.
And it will not be good.
What can you say? I think Simmons had more room if he would have just kept running laterally and opened things up a little bit, and instead he saw a hole and he tried to go for it. And again, it's nice to see a large contingent of other coaches from other games. They're all out here shaking hands, discussing future games and stuff. And it's a fun night, and they're seeing an excellent ball game, 14-12.
Boy, I'll tell you, Viking heavy favorite, but we've got an injured player on the field right now. I don't have a number. We'll find out who it is. We'll get you some information on him.
Right now they're working on him. And it's not uncommon to see a lot of cramping, some people getting some wind knocked out of them early on in the season. Granted, it is week number 4. But still, you're working out a lot of kinks. By next week, everybody should be polished because league opens up and it's going to be tough. Matter of fact, in the Whitmont League opens up this week because I got 8 teams in that league. Number 22.
22, and that is
Jeff Snipley.
Snipley, and he's walking out under his own power with a little bit of a limp, so
That's a darn good sign.
looks like he's okay. As he's assisted by what I guess is the trainer.
Yes, indeed. And I think I'd probably go down a couple of times if that was our trainer back when I was playing ball in high school. Boy.
That's not the trainer I remember in high school
No, we had
either.
some big, ugly dude, about 500 pounds, and would just pick you up by the back of your neck like a cat and just drag you off the sidelines. Times have changed.
Well, let's not give anybody ideas. Maybe some more Downey players will go down with injuries.
Oh, we have a game now. 6 seconds to go, and I think it'll probably be expended here on the kickoff.
And that will loom as a big, big touchdown if the Buccaneers ever get back in this and take the lead. They're back in it right now. But boy, a 91-yard touchdown pass, that was just incredible with only less than 20 seconds to go. Well, we're ready for the kickoff. 6 seconds left in the half, and he squibs it down the middle as expected. Downey takes the ball up, and that's going to be the last play. No, we've got 1 second left.
Robert Alvarez with the return. Not a bad return.
Not at all.
Robert Alvarez.
Coach Dunaway, what does he do, Rich? You got 1 second left. What do you do?
Run the clock out. I don't think you throw a Hail Mary pass here. More than likely, I think you just run the clock out and go inside and regroup. But then again, you know, Dunaway doesn't really need, they don't need so much regroup. That's it. I guess that was it. The officials were saying that's over. So it doesn't matter what I think now.
That's right. Well, we are at halftime right now. It's 14-12. Downey out front. We're going to take a quick break. Be right back. All right, we are back. We got about 2 minutes to go before halftime will expire, and the teams will come back out to play a second half. We'd like to remind you that this game is brought to you by Ads Floor Covering, serving the Mid-City areas with the finest in floor and window covering since 1945. Your local Armstrong Floor Fashion Center. And by the Sports Channel, sponsor of tonight's Player of the Game Award, which Rich and I will choose towards the end of the game, and a couple of candidates right now, Rich. So far, interesting contest.
Interesting indeed, but before we get into that, let's take a look at next week's game by the Bellflower production staff. The Edison Chargers, who defeated Dominguez last week 30-16. The Dons were up 16-6 at the half, and the Chargers came back, roaring back, and defeated Dominguez. They're going to be playing the St. John Bosco Braves. They're on the rebound. A couple of lean years since they made a trip to the 1986 CIF Southern Section Finals in the Big Five Conference, and they've been hurting ever since. So hopefully Bosco will be able to get it together this year and make some noise in that Delray League. Let's go ahead and recap the first half of score. And of course, with 6:47 remaining, a 25-yard pass from Serta to Katab. The extra point was good for Downey, and they took a 7-0 lead. Then with 3:21 left in the first quarter of play, a 1-yard plunge by James Phillips. The extra point again was good, putting Downey up 14-0. And that ended the first quarter. Then in the second quarter, with 3:35 to go in the first half, a 68-yard touchdown pass to Stacy Nolan from Mike Simmons. The extra point was no good, 14-6 in favor of the Vikings. And then with 20 seconds to go, it blew us all away. The Bellflower Buccaneers call timeout, and Smith hooks up with Simmons hooks up with Ray Smith for a 91-yard touchdown pass. And the extra point was no good, and that brings us to our present 14-12 score. And what a first half it was.
I'll tell you, the timeout by Coach Blunt and that pass play had a lot of people absolutely shocked. One of them sitting right in front of us, and Coach Ken Such. A very, very gutsy call by the Bucks.
All the coaches down there, we're just down there talking to them just before the half expired and before we came up here, and everybody was pretty much shocked as well. So this is why coaches are out here every Thursday night when they're Saturday night games. They're going to go check everybody out, because just for stuff like this, now they know that Bellflower is going to be gutsy with the new head coach.
Well, the second half promises to be interesting. This game, which coming into tonight's contest, we all thought that the Vikings would probably the Vikings would handle the Bucks quite easily, but that has not been the case at all.
Well, there's our halftime score, 14-12, and again, we're not belittling the Bellflower Club. It's just that, you know, unless you have a figurehead, you have the head coach from start to finish, it's very difficult to put things together and get some semblance, you know, of a ball club.
And here come the Bucks back out on the field. You're Coach Bluth. What do you tell him at halftime, Rich? What do you tell him? You obviously ended it on a very high note.
I think you just tell them, hey, look, you guys can play with these guys. Obviously, you got back in the ball game real quick, and just keep it together. Let's not try to play over our heads. You know, if we just do the things that we've been talking about all week, things should be okay. Again, not knowing Doug Bluth, because it's his first week out, it's very tough. Now, if Ken Such was in, I'd tell you what Ken Such was saying. If you're Downey, Dunaway, he's got his kids over there now. They're running through a couple of quick drills. Very disciplined ball club indeed. Dunaway, I think, will just open it up in the second half. I think they got a little bit conservative, or maybe the players got a little bit lackadaisical once they jumped out to that 14-0 lead and were driving at will.
Well, Coach Dunaway saw really two different Downey teams. The Downey team in the first, say, quarter and a half certainly was not the Downey team that we saw the last 7 or 8 minutes that gave up the 2 big scores.
What can you say? You know, one thing we've been pointing out most of the time is Mike Simmons has thrown a few balls that were right on the money, and the receivers have dropped them. However, it seems like those sticky fingers are starting to come back.
Well, a lot of people think there should be a statistic for dropped passes, and I agree, because Simmons has really had a superb night. I'm sure he's got over 175 yards in passing. He should have probably well over 200 or closer to 250.
Mike Simmons, remember, it was everything last year. And I would like to take this time to remind you guys that following tonight's ball game, of course, stay tuned for the Sports Corner coming up at 7:30. Have a few surprises for you. Of course, we mentioned last night Vince Ferragamo will be joining us October 25th. And he'll be in studio. We're going to go an hour that night. We'll probably go from 7 to 8. So join us October 25th for a little interview with Vince Ferragamo, formerly of the Los Angeles Rams. Had the 3rd greatest passing day in NFL history, over 500 yards. And with all the cannons that are in nowadays, you got John Elway, talk about Danny Marino. None of those guys have approached those numbers that Vince Ferragamo had back with the Rams.
Those are some very impressive numbers. And I'm sure those are numbers that you'll probably see reached more and more now that we have all these massive passing yards getting compiled every Sunday.
Sure.
I think football as a game is starting to open up a little bit more. People, you know, the 3 yards in cloud of dust, that old Woody Hayes style football, kind of going the way of the dinosaur.
Well, keep in mind, too, that it's geared more towards scoring now. 10, 12 years ago when Ferragamo set this standard, it was a little bit harder. There was none of this in-the-graph stuff, so Ferragamo was definitely ahead of his time.
Well, Downey will receive the opening kickoff here in the second half. And there's the kick by Johnson.
Johnson to Johnson.
Johnson to Johnson. He takes it inside his 10, breaks it up the middle, and that's a good pickup of about 22 yards. Brings it out to the 27-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10 Downey right there.
John Green making a nice tackle, putting his head to it, and bringing down Johnson. So it looks like Downey will operate at their own 28-yard line. And this is the first series of the second half.
And I think it's a really important series for Downey. They need to really come out and set the tone for how the rest of this ball game is going to be played. And we got a timeout on the field. And that's not a good sign. It really isn't, Rich. A timeout coming out of the huddle like that after the long halftime.
I want to try to look across the field and see what Coach Dunaway, how he's feeling about this timeout. I don't know why they called it. Again, maybe some confusion out there.
Well, I don't understand it at all. When you're coming out of the halftime, you know you're going to get the ball. Why a timeout?
Well, keep in mind as well, see, Coach Bluth is obviously putting some things in here that Coach Dunaway had no way to scout it.
Throw a different look.
Sure. So he hasn't really been able to scout this team, and there you see Coach Bluth, Doug Bluth again. Kind of an animated type coach on the field. He's been waving that thing all night.
And Server gives the ball in a misdirection straight up the middle. And that's Victor Johnson to gain about 2 yards.
But again, Coach Dunaway doesn't know what Coach Bluth's going to do. He hasn't seen him. Even though he scouted in the previous week, so what?
That's right. And I think that's really going to work to Coach Bluth on his behalf, is that the area coaches really don't know what kind of game plan he wants to execute.
After tonight, they'll know. Look at all the guys sitting out here.
Well, after tonight, you know darn well they're going to go ahead and have a prevent defense when it's less than 10 seconds to go inside the 10-yard line. And sort of drops back. Gives to the first man through, Encarnacion, and he picks up about 7 yards. I think we got another face mask.
Possibility. A ton of flags out there. We'll have to wait and see what the referee calls. It's a holding this time, called against the Vikings, so it's a big one just the same.
And that's going to cost them 15 yards and negate the first down.
Also keep in mind, after today's game, we will see Bell Gardens taking on Montebello in the Whitmont League action. That's the game following this one on Saturday, and of course it'll be following the Sports Corner on Wednesday.
It's going to push him way back. And a little bit of chaos here in the early going for Downey. Not the way you want to come out to start the second half.
Not at all. This is a totally the opposite of the way they came out.
Well, if there's been any regrouping that's taken place, they have yet to show it on the playing field. 11:06 here in the third quarter. Downey on top, 14-12. Serta will operate with a lone setback. And once again, the encroachment, no contact needed in high school. That's 5 yards.
Exactly. Once they break that plane, the neutral zone.
Do you agree with that in high school, though? Should they have it that way if there's no contact and the guy makes it back before the snap?
That's really hard to say. I think so. Even though they're not quite as disciplined as the college or the JC players will be or the pros will be, I think it's pretty good. I like the rule.
Well, they get 5 of those yards back from that 15-yarding holding penalty.
Over the ball. Major Johnson in the backfield.
And Serta with the long count, he wants a pass. Drops back, he's got a man open on the flat. And that is complete to Jerry Phillips, and Phillips bangs it up. And he is close to a first down. Excuse me, he's going to be about 7 yards shy, and that's going to make it third and about 7. We'll call it third and a long 8. We are just underway here in the third quarter. Downey, after being out playing, a tremendous first quarter, but got outplayed the last 7 minutes. And Serta's going to throw. And he is sacked with a good pass rush by number 73. Credit Scott Dayton.
That's Dayton's second sack of the ball game, but there's a big yellow hanky right about the line of scrimmage. Let's see what's happening. Holding.
Well, got to decline that. Take the loss. And the loss of down, of course. That's going to be a punting situation. There's a replay on that sack, Rich.
Well, let's see again. Number 73, Scott Dayton, we mentioned before, 6'2", 205-pounder. Serta dropping back, and Dayton almost, I don't want to say he was untouched because the guard was doing a job on him. However, he just overpowered him this time.
Ruggiero and Nolan back deep for the Bucks. They should come out of this with some pretty good field position. Gets the kick away cleanly. Fair catch signaled by number 21, Ruggiero. And they will start at midfield with 9:44 to go here in the third quarter.
14-12 our score.
Well, the Bucks got what they wanted there. They wanted to go ahead and stop Downey on the first possession, and they really, with the exception of the penalty, they did not give up any ground at all. It was a good defensive series for them.
Yes, indeed, and the momentum could quite possibly, carry over from the first half. I'm sure it is now.
Simmons wants to throw. He's got a man wide open over the middle. That is, I'm going to get it right this time. Stacy Nolan breaks another tackle. And he's knocked out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. We've seen that pass play before.
Yes, we have, and Simmons took a shot after he threw the ball. Nothing dirty about it. It was a clean hit. And we see it again. Watch Simmons just take a shot. Right when he releases it, Katab just nailed him. We didn't get to see it, but Nolan, again, number 9.
They split that zone coverage.
Out of bounds right there.
And straight up the middle is going to be about a 2-yard gain. It's going to make it 2nd and 8. Well, the old adage, Rich, if it's working, why change? And I think if they keep throwing over the middle and splitting that zone about 15 yards deep, they can beat that Downey secondary.
Just took time to get warmed up. They're not dropping very many passes now.
And it's him to the first man through. That's number 40, excuse me.
That's Jay Jin.
Jay Jin, 31. And he picks up about 4 or 5 yards.
Kitab wrapping him up inside the 20-yard line. Bellflower on the move. Total contrast. Totally converse to the first half.
And this is going to be a big play for the Bellflower team right here.
It almost looks like Downey and Bellflower switched uniforms for the second half.
Simmons has got a man wide open. That ball's tipped and incomplete. For a split second, he had a man open, but
he had Ray Smith there. And Smith just not able to get it. Good defense by the Vikings.
Well, it's 4th down. I would expect they will go for it here unless they've got someone that can put the ball through the uprights. And I see the kicking tee getting thrown out there. Are they going to go for the field goal?
He just slapped the ball boy in the head with it, so they better go out there and use it. And
well, we'll call it a 35-yarder.
Ruggiero.
And this is a big kick right here for the Bucks.
Sean Green will hold.
And they fumble the snap, and Ruggiero takes the ball, and he goes nowhere.
Demetrius Maxey with the stop. 6 foot, 243 pounds.
Now, that's the second time they've had trouble handling the snap, Rich. Of course, in the first half, they bobbled the extra point attempt. And now right here again with the field goal, as we've got a man down on the field, that has to be a concern because those 3 points, the 2 points on the extra points, and now 3 points here, we're talking about the lead.
That's
right. If they make the snap and the hold right.
Somebody is down as we get a look over there for Bellflower, and from our vantage point, as you can tell, we can't get the numbers. Maybe Dennis Harnett can pick those out for us, and we'll get the injured player to you as soon as we can. The way he's laying, hopefully he's just got the wind knocked out of him, but does it look like he's touching his back there a little bit? Hopefully not. We're hoping it's just the wind, but usually when the wind's knocked out, they're flopping, trying to get that breath back. And I've had it happen to me many a times, and I know how funny I look. So, and the officials are going to take a timeout right now.
Well, the Buck coaching staff going to work on him. And once we find out who that is, we'll get you his name. 7:59 to go here in the third quarter. And we're being told it's number 21, Ruggiero, who I guess after that run really got the stuffing knocked out of him.
Suburban.
Well, we're going to take a break right now. We'll be back in just a moment. We are back.
Not a moment too soon, huh?
Long count. And Serta gives the ball to Johnson. Johnson bangs it off the right side to pick up about 3 yards. Excuse me, we'll call it 5.
Just so you know, J.R. Ruggiero was okay. Hopefully it's just the wind that was knocked out of him. He got up, he's okay. He's over on the sidelines checking his gear now, and I'm just glad to see that he wasn't seriously injured. You never want to see that at any level.
Certainly not. 7:15 and counting, 14-12. This one with the Downey team on top. But it's been really a different ball game. And he wanted to pitch a broken play, and that's going to cost him. I think Serta meant to pivot right, but he pivoted left. And of course, the tailback took off to the right side. There was nobody there to pitch to, so he ate it, which was probably the better of the two evils of throwing another errant lateral. That's going to make it 3rd and 7.
Still 6 yards to go.
Big play for Downey right here.
Serta drops. Got a man in the flat, and that was intended for Jerry Phillips, but he didn't hold on to it. He didn't have the first down yardage anyway, so it's going to bring up another 4th down. Good pass defense coverage right there as we take a look at Coach Bluth. And he has done an absolutely outstanding job and surprised a lot of people tonight. We've got Ruggiero back deep along with Nolan. And there's the kick. Nolan is going to let this bounce, and it hits a defender and will be
Dead
down
right there.
right there. The ball bounced into the back of Terry Thompson, and it's automatically downed. It'll be 1st and 10, the 42-yard line of Bellflower.
Can't really fault Terry Thompson for letting it hit him there. I'm sure the coach would have liked to see that ball roll about another 10 or 15 yards, but he was just concentrating on his man, and apparently the return men just put on a good show, keeping their eyes glued to the ball.
Well, he did the right thing. He got in front of the ball. Unfortunately, he had his back to it, so it kissed him off the behind, but it did the right thing. You want to be in front of it so you put yourself between the defender and the ball. But right now, it's a 1st and 10 for the Bucks, and they are going to try to make something happen here to regain the lead. Sheehan rolls left, pitches the ball, and nothing happening there. Hanna took the pitch, but nowhere to go. They read that play well.
Ted Irwin credited him with the stop, real quick-like, and turning the Buccaneers away. That option just has not gotten on track. The bulk of the scoring, and again, the bulk of the ball movement for Bellflower has come on the arm of Simmons, who's had several passes dropped in the first half. In the second half, the Buccaneers are hanging on.
5:25 to go here in the 3rd quarter. As you look at quarterback Mike Simmons, and he drops back. He wants to throw. He's got a man wide open in the middle. That's Ray Smith. And that's a 1st down for the Buccaneers.
Buccaneers now inside the 45-yard line. They're going to mark it right at the 45 of Downey. The Buccaneers on the move. And
Rich, how long can they keep running those slants over the middle and burning them? Here's, you see the replay. They just burn them on single coverage every time.
I guess until they stop, it stops working, because it's been working very well here in the second half. I'm sure, though, the Vikings will counter real soon. But those receivers, boy, they're tall, and they can run. They can leap, too.
Sheehan gives the ball the first man through. That's in
Jay Jen.
And he's going to go a long way. A good pickup, about 25 yards. That brings it down to the 15-yard line.
Ted Irwin and Terry Thompson making the stop, and if they weren't there, it would have been long gone.
Here's a replay, Rich.
There you see it again. Simmons just take him what they'll give him. And that's the play previous. That was the play previous. And in high school ball, once you take a knee, once you go down, you're down. Even if nobody touched you, that's it. And that's the way to avoid injuries, and I'm sure that's why the rule's there.
Well, the Buccaneers knocking on the door. 1st and 10. They're at the Downey 15-yard line. And Simmons keeps it, and another flag on the play.
Simmons again keeping the ball. Simmons is pretty good size, though, 6'2", about 210 pounds, 205 right in there.
And that's going to hurt. It's a holding call against the Bucks. And getting back to Simmons, you know, he is a Division I college prospect. He's got everything they're looking for. 6'3", 200 pounds. You know he's going to grow some more. He's got a rifle for an arm. He is being looked at, and I'm sure he will go on to have some good collegiate days.
The thing that impresses me most about Simmons is he's able to throw a ball 50 yards with a little or no problem. Number two, I think he really wants to be a fullback. The way he turns upfield instead of opting to go out of bounds, he'll take the linebackers and the defensive tackles head on. He doesn't seem to bother him.
And Simmons drops. He's going for Nolan, but nothing happening there. He was well covered that time.
Terry Thompson running stride for stride with him. Looking back, I almost thought he was going to catch that ball. Good coverage by Downey.
Well, Coach Bluth electing to open it up a little. He's been doing the slant over the middle. This time he takes it to the sidelines.
Second, I love it. Look at these guys. Don't miss the sports corner on Wednesday evenings. Thank you, John Clodfelter and staff down below. We have a good time with it. A lot of Downey kids called up last night. Really like to hear from everybody. Please join us.
2nd and 21. Simmons rolls to his left, and he rolls out to his outside, and he's tackled, brought down from behind.
Demetrius Maxey, right on him. We talked about him earlier. Do you believe he's 6'2", 243? And he ran Simmons down. How he did that, I'll never know.
Well, Simmons, I think, was trying to set and get a pass off, and unfortunately, he didn't hear the footsteps behind him. And we got a timeout on the field.
Bellflower.
And the Bellflower will take a timeout here as Coach Bluth will go out there and talk strategy. They had a first down on the 15-yard line. But right now, we are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. We are back with 3:49 to go here in the third quarter. 14-12 Downey, but Bellflower knocking on the door. Unfortunately, right now for this Bellflower team, they are.
Check out this. He's you heard of the terrible towel?
And some interesting glasses on him.
Terrible shades out here.
And we have another timeout on the field.
I like those glasses. That'll be the craze now. We have the flag, as you mentioned.
And
apparently somebody didn't have...
what's that call, Rich? A delay of game coming off a timeout? Oh, I don't know about that, refs. That's a tough
That's a weird delay of game call.
I mean, they're coming out of a timeout, and that really changes the situation. I mean, they go from now, it's 3rd and a mile now. We'll call it
Actually, that's a failure to wear proper equipment. That's what I was going to say, but somebody yelled delay a game up here, so I'm not going to argue, but that's what it was. You got to have, somebody probably didn't have their chin strap on.
Here's the
screen pass.
Screen pass. And a good piece of running, but he's going to come well short of the first down, but he picks up about 12 yards on the carry.
Keep in mind, you will get penalized in football if you don't have the. A lot of people like to take the ear pads out of their helmets, and some people, if they don't put their chin strap, it's not snapped. Some guys they have the dual chin strap. They like to leave maybe one of them might be unbuckled. If you're not watching it, they will call you for it. And also, you have to wear a mouthpiece out there every down. Your shirt should be tucked in. There's a ton of rules, and normally they're followed to the T, but you can't blame the officials for throwing a flag on not wearing the proper equipment.
Exactly. What you don't want, though, is the officials getting selective in when they call it. You want consistency out there.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what we've had, and that was an isolated incident, and we won't see any more of it. Because we have ourselves a dandy of a ball game with 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. 14-12 Downey, but the Buccaneers trying to make something happen.
Big play.
4th down.
4th and 18. Simmons.
Throw long over the middle. That ball overthrown. Incomplete. It was intended for Nolan. But he was open, Rich.
Yes, he was. That time, Simmons just is plain and simple. He overthrew his receiver. And it looks like Nolan came up a little racked up on that play.
Well, credit Simmons, though, because he does know. You got to think that Nolan does have a good jumping ability, and he did have to place that in there and over the defender. So it was a tough pass to make. But now it's 1st and 10 Downey, 2:47 to go here in the third quarter. And Downey, you know they're not going to be content, and they shouldn't sit on this lead. The conservative game plan the last quarter and a half has really probably been most responsible for them being in the position they are. And here they are, and there's a sack on the play as the Bellflower defense continues to rise to the occasion here in the second half.
Hummy Ratzliff, credit him with the sack. Good penetration this time by the Bellflower defense. You know, Downey in the first half did a heck of a job keeping the defensive line of Bellflower at bay, but it's happening so far in the second half. They're putting pressure on Serta. I also think that Downey is just not coming at Simmons the way they did in the first half either.
I agree totally. They're just not attacking the way they were going in the first quarter when they put the 14 points on the board very quickly. Right now, Serta on the draw, hands it off, and nothing going again.
Jerry Phillips now, this time on the draw. There was really nothing there that time. That's going to bring up a big third down play now for Downey. And now we'll see what their long play is.
Well, they've run the draw a couple of times, but I don't think they're going to try that here. I think maybe they'll try giving Bellflower some of their own medicine. A quick slant up the middle with one of the flankers. We'll see what happens. Coach Dunaway swung that play in, so Serta goes with 2 men wide to his left. Lone setback.
And again, an animated Bluth on the sideline.
Serta drops. And that pass is caught, but well short of the first down. Gets about 5 yards on the pickup. That's going to bring about a 4th and 11 in a punting situation, and Bellflower is going to get the ball back.
Credit Jay Ginn on that play. Once Johnson got the pass, he was wrapped up, nowhere to go. And, you know, that's where you want to get the ball carrier. You want to take those legs away. If you can get the ankles, get them. But anything below the belt's preferable.
Nolan and Ruggiero back deep. Flag on the play. A high kick. Nolan fakes the fair catch, lets it bounce, and those Bellflower players had better get away from the ball.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Number 20, Fuzzy Thomas, almost stepping on it. I think we might have had a Viking leave too early. Let's see what they call.
And that's going to go against
Somebody left too soon.
Bellflower.
Oh, check that. That's right, Bellflower.
We're going to call that, well, I'm not sure exactly what the call is.
Just
It wasn't a very good kick, Rich. I think they'll take the yardage and kick it again because it's not going to give them a first down.
Again, not real clear on those signals tonight.
Actually, well, there's too many men on the field, but they decline it.
I think the Bellflower guy got off. There was two of them that got off the field in plenty of time, but apparently there was another one out there we didn't count.
Well, interesting. Downey decides to decline the penalty.
Yeah, they could have kicked again, but then again you might get a return. Somebody may break it on you. Also, it's only 5 yards. It's not going to make much difference.
Right. It wasn't a 25-yard kick, and they're not going to. They're just going to take it.
And again, we could see. I don't know. I thought the players got off the field on time.
Well, they're having a little conference out there right now. I don't know exactly what they're talking about. The referee gave a decline signal. Maybe
if they're confused, it's obviously we're going to be confused. That's all I can tell you.
Well, I think right now they're starting to. I think they want to go ahead and kick it over again.
Okay, we know there's too many guys on the field.
Too many guys on the field.
Against Bellflower.
And now they take it. They have a change of heart, have you? I thought they should go ahead and just take in the penalty because the kick was 25 yards. You figure you're going to get a better roll if nothing else. So that's going to make it 4th down in about 8. Obviously, still punting situation. But we're going to do it all over again. Excuse me. Well, now I'm confused because that was a 15-yard penalty.
Well, let's just set the table. It's 1st and 10 for the Vikings. The ball's at the 38. The officials are working things out.
We've got more confusion out in the field than up here in the booth. I don't know what's going on, but I will tell you, it's a 1st down for the Vikings, and Coach Bluth doesn't like the call, and he's got reason to be angered, I think.
Well, he's very animated on the sidelines, and he's keeping his temperament.
And the crowd doesn't like it either. 36 seconds ago here in the 3rd quarter. This one has been close.
And now let's see, now there's some activity going on behind us. I don't want to get involved with that. Let's just keep our attention to the field. So just the same as we mentioned, 1st and 10 at the 38-yard line for Downey, and Downey will retain possession and see if they can move the ball downfield this time. A lot of confusion out in the stand. There's some problems going on out here.
Sure is.
We don't want to get involved in that.
Well, this should be the last play of the 3rd quarter. And Serta gives it to the first man through.
Oh.
And there's a pickup of about 8 yards, but a flag on the play.
Might be a face mask on that because he threw the flag right at the player.
That was in Carsononian. There's some turmoil going on up in the stands, but we are interested only with what's going on in the playing field.
And the call has been, it was 12 men on the field. And again, those guys weren't even doing it. Those guys are running off the field. They were already pretty much off. I thought they had made it, but apparently the side judge is right there with a micrometer and measuring the...
Well, here's a makeup call for the Bucks. If it's any condolence, a holding call. That's going to push them way back and negate that gain. It's going to make it 1st and 15. Some of the calls tonight, I don't understand them. I don't understand the yardage they're marking off.
Yeah. Again, it's still preseason, and they're getting their act together as well.
And in Carcione, it goes straight up the middle for a pickup of about 5 yards. It's going to make it 2nd and 9 when we start the 4th quarter as time runs down. 14-12. Downey on top. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll bring you the last quarter. That coming up next. We're back to start the 4th quarter here. We've got 12 minutes of football left. It is a tight game and a very good one. That quarter saw some good defensive action on both sides of the field. 14-12 Downey. They have the ball and a 2nd and 9.
Vikings very lucky in the third quarter.
Inserted pitches to Phillips. Phillips takes it out to the left side and bangs it up front for about 4 or 5 yards. It's going to bring about 3rd and 3. We'll call it 3rd and 4.
Apparently the Downey passing game just has not got on track so far this evening.
Well, Coach Dunaway elected to grind it out in the third quarter. Didn't put it in the air much.
Well, that was his main concern. We talked to him in practice during the week. I was down there a couple days, and he was saying, we got to get our passing game, more pass-oriented to open up the things for the running game, obviously. It's not working so far today.
And Serter to Phillips. Phillips off right side. Good pickup. He's got the first down and more, but another flag on the play.
Well, let's brace ourselves. We got another penalty out there.
I'm done guessing what these calls might be. Even the preliminary calls, another holding. And of course, that's been the referee's favorite tonight.
They'll argue about it. They'll talk about us after the game when they see this and say, hey, you guys blew it. But this was definitely holding.
That's going to negate that first down and push him back.
And in the stands, they're tossing a little football around. Normally at the Dodger games and the Ram games and stuff, you see a beach ball going. Out here, they're tossing a little football. Somebody finally tucked it away, and they're doing an icky shuffle down there. They're having a great time tonight here at Bellflower.
Well, it's going to be 3rd and long. We'll call it 3rd and 12. Serta's going to throw. It's a screen pass, and that ball is simply dropped by Victor Johnson down by the knees, and it would have taken a good effort to catch it.
Tony Volkman putting on the pressure that time. Big number 77, 6'4", 240. Not her, Volkman, number 77. And he's putting the pressure on.
Maybe that's Volkman's girlfriend. Nolan and Ruggiero back deep. And we might get a return on this, no. And Stacy Nolan makes a bad decision there. He had enough room to go ahead and return that, called for the fair catch, and then let it bounce by him, and it cost about 15 more yards. So the Bellflower will start deep in her own territory, Rich.
We're down to the final 10:29 here in this ball game, and it's still up in the air. Quite a contrast to what all the prognosticators were thinking about ahead of time in this game. Again, let's not keep reiterating and be redundant, but again, Coach Bluth, nobody's got to see him. I'm sure a lot of new plays, new things have been instituted in this week, even though it was a short week for him. And keeping Downey at bay.
Well, let's see if Coach Bluth elects to go with his bread and butter play. He wants to get some points on the board. He needs it. See if he wants to go with that slant up the middle. They've been successful with it so far. And they hand it off to the first man through, and that's in Carcione. And pick up about 4 or 5 yards. They elect to run it on first down.
JGN just on a routine dive play, and he gets about 3 or 4 yards. I guess they're going to call it 2nd and 7. Crucial drive here for both clubs. Downey's got to stop him here.
And Simmons operating out of the eye. Quarterback draw straight up the middle. Simmons with a big pickup and more. And that was a run of about 20, just over 20 yards, Rich.
Nice open field run there. And he set it up all himself. Mike Simmons, we've seen him do it earlier today.
Here's a replay,
See it again. You can always tell when he sets it up. He just takes a couple of quick steps, tucks the ball away, and goes.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When the Downey secondary sees him drop back, they really
see the fullback,
they go ahead and freeze.
See the fullback, Hannah? He made all that extra yardage happen. He took on the 2 linebackers and gave them that extra room to run.
Exactly. He was in the secondary before the linebackers even knew what happened. All right, 1st and 10.
Simmons
and
again.
Simmons on a keeper around the right side. Picks up about 3 or 4. It's going to be 2nd and 7.
We haven't seen Simmons put it up yet on this drive. But you better watch out. They'll get stung again, I guarantee you.
Coach Bluth doing some interesting play calling, keeping it on the ground. Let's see if he mixed it up with a pass play. But so far, they've had some success here on this drive. And Simmons wants to throw. Now he rolls out. He's going to take this, and he brings it up the field for another good pickup. It'll be another first down as he punches it into Downey territory.
Simmons, again, just taking control of this ball game now. You don't expect to see the quarterback running as much as he is tonight. And normally you don't want your quarterback running, period. But Simmons has all the tools. Good size, good speed. Able to outmaneuver. Cutting back to the inside. Just a good-looking run.
And it's going to be first down and 10 at the 49. And I think someone left early, but they give it to the first man through. No flag on that play. And Jin takes it for about 4 yards. 2nd and 6 coming up.
Ball be spotted on the 46. It'll be second down. Make it 2nd and 7.
Well, 7:50 and counting. This one looks like it's going to go down to the wire. Bellflower in control, and Simmons wants to pass. And he's got a man over the middle. We've seen this play before, and that's Ray Smith with a big chunk of yardage. That's going to put it down on the 22-yard line, Rich.
You know, I'll tell you how well Phil Dunaway does his homework. He told me last week, that Simmons can throw off the wrong foot and complete it. He's got that type of strength. He's that kind of player, and that's evidence. Now watch Mike Simmons as he drops back. He slips. Watch when he tries to get set. Right here, he plants, he slips. Look at that back leg. He already lifted. He was off balance. He made the throw. Nice catch.
Well, that's been their bread and butter play all night, and it worked again.
Big yards.
1st and 10. They're at the 16-yard line. And Simmons with a very risky pitch, and he's almost had some running room. If Pana gets outside, he may have a touchdown.
I can't believe the shot Simmons took. He took a chance. He paid the price, but by the same token, they picked up some big yards. We see number 50, Demetrius Maxey, and also number 22, Ted Irwin, slamming Simmons at the last possible second. That's a gutsy play by Simmons.
Very risky pitch as well. Hanna got underneath it and was able to cut it off at the pass, so have you, and get some yardage. 2nd and 6 right now. And to give the first man through, and Carcione, he's got a gain of about 5 yards. It's going to make it 3rd and about 2 yards, I believe, for the first down.
Making the tackle. Ball inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line.
I think Coach Bluth wanted the Buccaneers down here as quickly as they have gotten here. They haven't really got anything yet. They haven't been in the end zone. They haven't kicked the field goal to go ahead. But they're driving, and there's still plenty of time left on that clock. 20 to go.
3rd and 2, big play for the Bucs. They're going to operate out of the I formation, double flanker wide to the right. And Simmons on the quarterback draw. He's got the first down and more. Simmons inside the 5, down to the 2-yard line.
Again, John Hanna really makes that play work so well. Number 45, the fullback. I mean, he just goes through there and just blows people out.
You've got a man down on the field.
We sure do.
Here's a replay, Rich.
Now watch number 45. He's playing fullback at this point, but he's going through the hole. He's going to open things up for his quarterback. Boom. Takes out the linebacker. Simmons, forward, backward, took an awkward spill. And I believe that's Mike Simmons on the field. Yes, it is, the quarterback. And that is a big blow if it's something serious.
Sure is. Well, 1st and goal to goal on the 2-yard line. If you're Bellflower, you got a like what's going on. All right, we've got a man down on the field, Mike Simmons, and we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Some of our most recent mergers and acquisitions. At the YMCA, we've always believed the business of bringing people together is the most important business of all. The YMCA is for all of you.
We are back, 6:05 to go, and this one, Bellflower Buccaneers knocking on the door, trying to take the lead. Mike Simmons still down on the play. And that is Simmons, of course, their quarterback, who made that fine run to give him the first and goal.
We got some word from some of the people here in the booth, especially the PA announcer. He's mentioned that Mike Simmons, throughout his career here at Bellflower, has dislocated his shoulder a number of times, some as many as 4 or 5 times. So this may be number 6. And hopefully Simmons can bounce back, because this would be a big blow to Doug Bluth, because Simmons is such a player. There's no doubt about it.
Certainly is.
No doubt he's a Division I prospect. He just has the bad breaks this year. You know, things just haven't been going good for Bellflower this year. They had such a great season last year, and it's, you know, it tears you up to see things like this happen to the guys, because they worked very hard to get respectability, and to see it come apart like this tonight, it's just disheartening.
Well, I believe the backup quarterback, Dan Perez, I don't know if the weight of getting this win will rest on his shoulders, but I don't think Simmons is going to be able to remain in there.
They're going to go ahead and get somebody out there. They're not going to move him, and that'd be stupid if they did. I think they're going to hold him down and make sure he's okay, and they have a doctor going out there now and going to have a look at him. It's just a tough situation. We don't want to see this happen.
All right, we're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. 6:05 to go here in the 4th quarter. And we'd like to let everybody know that there's been about a 20-minute pause, because quarterback Mike Simmons hurt pretty seriously on the play, and the ambulance taking him off. We've got a replay of that, Rich. It looked like the shoulder. I'm not quite sure, though.
Well, again, it's more than likely is. Of course, the PA guy knows a lot more than we do about Bellflower. He's here every week, and he gets to see him. And as he mentioned before, he mentioned that Simmons has had shoulder separation problems, and more than likely hopefully it's just a slight dislocation. They'll pop it back in, give him a week off, and he'll be back. But he looks in a lot of pain right now, and boy,
that's the shoulder.
That's the worst thing in the world to happen. And it's just, well, it looks like it's his throwing arm they got wrapped up too, and that's even worse.
And here's the replay.
See it again. That's natural speed. Anyways, no, we were a little bit quick on that. But anyway, you see Simmons, he got tripped up, left his feet, landed flat on his shoulder. I don't think anybody jumped on him. He just landed on the ground with his shoulder, and ugh.
Well, we're being told up here that J.R. Ruggiero will take over the quarterbacking duties. And, of course, with the first and goal to go at the 4-yard line, a very important situation here in this game.
Side, we have a challenge from the Varsity song leaders and cheerleaders.
We got one more look at that replay with a little bit slower motion here.
Now watch Simmons' feet. You'll see he goes airborne in an awkward position, almost a prone position, except he turned just a little bit to his side. Watch this as we try to take it slow for you. He's cutting back, and then he just leaves his feet, and he lands right on that shoulder.
And here we go. 6 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the game.
Bam. That's terrible. Back to live action.
First and goal. Here we go. Ruggiero's going to take over quarterbacking. Bellflower knocking on the door. They want to punch it in. And a trick. Well, it looked like there was a fumble. And believe it or not, that's exactly what happened on the exchange. I'm not quite sure who recovered.
Doug Bluth with his hands on his head. And he's gesturing his own, and no, it's Downey ball.
Well, Doug Bluth's worst nightmare just happened.
And you got to feel for him. So close, knocking on the door with 5:41 to go.
Plenty of time left. But they will definitely need the defense to rise to the occasion here and stop him and get the ball back with good field position. A big, big turnover, and you couldn't have had it happen at a worse time.
And I think both clubs are now even on the turnovers, and there we see the Bellflower Brain Trust. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for Downey. What a tough break for Bellflower.
And timeout on the field.
Downey's going to call a timeout here, and they're going to kind of regroup themselves. You figure we had it, like you said, we had a 20-minute interlude there because of the injury, and you know, things are going to be a little bit tight, and I think they had too much time to think about what they were going to do. Plus, they weren't expecting to have the turnover so quickly after the
Exactly. They came out of that
play.
huddle pretty fired up.
Yes.
They came to the line of scrimmage. Now, on the snap, Rogerio took the ball cleanly. It happened on the exchange, or I'm not even sure if the running back even got the ball. It was just, it went down, and
Well, we've seen the exchange from Downey wasn't crisp early in the first half where there was a fumble, and of course Bellflower recovered. This time it comes back the other way, and you're not always going to get things out. There's Coach Phil Dunaway and some of the other gentlemen on his staff and some of the players, and intense gentleman, but he's very quiet, very reserved type. Doesn't get excited.
well, if he
very
was
easily.
praying on that last play, his prayers were answered because he got the ball back. And it's 1st and 10 for the Vikings. And Serta gives the ball off to, I believe he handed it off to Johnson, and Johnson doesn't get too much. It's going to make it 2nd and about 7. We'll call it, excuse me, we'll call it 8 or 9.
Well, win or lose, we're not saying this one's over by far, but you gotta like the way Bellflower has hung in there.
They have impressed a lot of people here tonight. Serta gives the ball off, first man through, and Johnson goes straight ahead, picks up about 3 yards, a little bit more breathing room, but a big 3rd down play coming up, Rich.
You know, Bellflower lost their opening week 35-6 to Valencia, and then in week 2, St. Anthony got him 7-6 in a tight defensive contest. And then last week, Sonora took it to him 27-0. And you don't expect this type of turnaround in such a short period of time because Downey is a very, very good ball club.
Well, it's 3rd and 6, and this is the biggest play of the game for the defense of the Buccaneers. Serta out of the I formation, gives it a first man through, and he gets nothing. And that is going to make it 4th and 3, and they're going to punt, and Bellflower is going to have another chance.
Too much time, exactly 4 minutes to go. The clock is now running. And I think Bellflower, again, just surprised a lot of people, and it's not over yet by far.
Not at all. I'm not sure on the timeout situation, but I believe Bellflower has at least 2.
Players all rolling off the field, whereas before they got a penalty for having too many people out there. Kicking from his own end zone.
And Rogerio and Nolan back deep, and Nolan's going to let that bounce out of bounds at about the 30, well, we'll call it the 40-yard line. Great field position for the Buccaneers, and they'll take over 1st and 10 right there.
But we don't have Mike Simmons here. That changes the whole face of this ball game. I would like to say that Rogerio is going to lead him to the promised land tonight, but keep in mind, nobody's quarterbacked this team but Mike Simmons the last couple of years, so come on.
Well, what does Rogerio do? Does he put it in the air? Does the coach have the confidence to let him throw the ball, or does he try to ground it out the 40 yards he needs to score?
It's very risky. I don't know how much playing time he had in practice, so I think they're probably going to keep it on the ground.
1st and 10 at the Downey 40-yard line. Rogerio out of the I formation, gives it to the first man through, and he gets about 3 yards. And there was a late hit there, but no flag.
I don't think the reason they didn't get a flag because the Downey player hit his own player in the back, and you can hit your own player all you want. It's no problem. Just don't pile on.
It's going to make it 2nd and 7, 3 minutes and 5 seconds and counting. Call it 2nd and 8. Rogerio, he wants a pass. Good
Play
fake
action.
over the middle, and that ball almost picked off. He wanted to go to Nolan, and the Downey defender had that on the numbers, but simply dropped it.
Dropping it, number 21. Apparently he's escaped our roster tonight. But almost, but didn't.
Well, it hit him right in the numbers.
So you're looking at 3rd, and they're calling it, I'll call it 3rd and 8. Looks like 3rd and 8 from here to me.
Well, 2:44 to go. And, of course, Bellflower will take both downs to try to get the first down here. So they might keep it on the ground. Double flanker wide to the left.
Yeah. I'll hold that thought.
Rogerio goes back. He wants to throw. He's got a man wide open, and that's complete.
But it doesn't matter. Look how Downey's going to give him that short pass.
That's exactly right. And Johnson caught the ball, but defenders there waiting for him, and that pickup maybe not much.
Yeah, didn't pick him much. They're going to give him that short pass underneath. There's no problem with that. If you notice, the Downey defenders, they had a ton of them in the area, and they're just going to keep them, you know, way inside the first down yardage.
And 4th and 5, and Coach Bluth wants a timeout.
The thought I had earlier was, you know, this may work to Bellflower's advantage, being that, you know, Downey's so geared to Mike Simmons and his athletic ability. That guy's so unpredictable. You never know what he'll do. And then you have, you know, Rogerio in there. He can offset things a little bit. Apparently, they're calling for a break in the action. And when we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this exciting game. The Vikings lead 14-12. We'll be right back.
We are back, 2:37 to go in this one. 14-12 Downey in a 4th and 5 situation for Bellflower.
I would look for a draw play in this situation. Look at the big hole in the middle. The backers are there, but you got the big fullback Hanna. He can block.
Rogerio at quarterback. He's taking over from Mike Simmons here in the waning moments of this one. Needs something to happen. And
Play
Rogerio
action.
wants a pass, and he is sacked. But we have a flag.
This is a big flag now. It could be a face mask, but then again, it looked like he had him around the hips. We'll wait and see what this is.
Well, the flag's certainly in the vicinity of what looked like a face mask, and that's what it is. And that is going to give him a 1st and 10 inside the 25-yard line.
Waking up the crowd. Stupid play, and that's the only way I can. That's the nicest way I can put it. That's a very dumb play. He had him in the grab. All you have to do is set him down. You don't need to grab his face mask. And I hate to say it, but Downey may have just killed themselves right there.
Well, they have new life. 2:30 to go. Clock running. 1st and 10 at the 26. And that pretty much ensures that this thing will go right down to the wire.
Again, you're going to see a lot of young mistakes like this at a high school level.
Rogerio pitches out.
Hanna.
He's got some running room on the outside. Hanna with a pickup of about 5 yards and another flag, Rich.
I don't know if it's cable TV or what that, you know, gets these guys get jazzed for being on the tube, you know, giving the signals or what, but there are sure a lot of flags tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a clipping, and it's going to go against Bellflower, and that's going to give him a 1st down and 25 right now. Certainly not what Coach Bluth would like to see in this situation. Because you got to remember, all they need is a field goal to win this, so it's not like they have to punch it in the end zone. And when you lose that much field position on one play like that, it really hurts.
No doubt. No doubt about it.
Well, 2:03 to go.
I'd like to remind you to stay tuned for the next game of the week, featuring Bell Gardens. Highly touted Bell Gardens, who defeated the top team in the city in Dorsey last week, versus Montebello.
All right, it's 1st and a mile. We'll call it 27 yards. Rogerio with his hands full with the task right now.
Another play action.
He rolls left, and he turns it upfield for a short gain. He should have gotten out of bounds. I don't know if he did. Doesn't look like he did. And the clock is going to tick away, and those precious seconds are quickly evaporating.
Well, we're seeing now, you know, we're not picking on the coach, but it's Sandlot football. You know, they didn't expect their #1 guy to be knocked out, and I'm sure Rogerio didn't have a lot of practice at quarterback this week. So, you know, you can't fault. Nobody can see the future. Nobody would know that Simmons was going to dislocate or rack up his shoulder. So, very tough situation right now indeed.
Well, Rogerio should have taken that play out of bounds to stop the clock, and he didn't. And I think what just happened was Bellflower expended their last time out, and that could come back to haunt him.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Rogerio's down now, so now what do we do? Really tough.
Well,
there's
Rogerio touching his right knee. He's going to come out, and I don't know who's going in. It looks like, well, I don't know who plays quarterback now.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I don't even think the guys up here know. And, well, they got somebody in there now. We're going to find out real quick.
Well, a minute and counting to go.
Oh.
2nd down and very long. And who's that quarterback? Well, it's Stacy Nolan. It's still Nolan.
Be ironic if he threw a long bomb for a TD, wouldn't it?
To himself. And Nolan around the left side. He's got some running room. He turns it up middle. and gets out of bounds, doing the smart thing.
Beautiful run by Nola. I love that. That was a great play. Great call.
42 seconds left now. But
he got out of bounds.
He got out of bounds, stopped the clock, and it's going to make it 3rd and 15. Got a replay.
This was designed, no doubt. He just tucked it. He's running for daylight. He's keeping the ball, holding like a loaf of bread's the old cliche, and I think he's just holding the other people at bay until they cross the line of scrimmage, and that way they know he won't throw, and it's just fair game.
Well, he did the right thing and switched it over to his left hand.
This guy's used to getting hit, so don't fret when you see this guy running with the ball, Nolan. He's built for this. Ruggiero now back in the ball game, though, so that's it for Nolan's performance at quarterback.
Ruggiero back. He wants to throw. He's got a man open on the flat, Ray Smith, but that's dropped. And that'll bring up a 4th and 15. And pretty much the ball game for Bellflower. What do you think, Rich? What do you do?
All you can do is try to get the first down. You got to keep it towards the sidelines. I don't think Bellflower has any more timeouts.
Well, there's enough time left, I think, where if they do get a completion over the middle, they'll be in field goal range if they do get the first down, so they can always grind it out, ground the ball.
I think what you do here is you call 2 plays now. You say, look, it's over the middle. We get the first down. The next play is going directly out of bounds. Or somebody will take a knee in the backfield because there's not enough time to run a full, succession of 4 downs.
I agree.
4th and 15. This is it. Oh,
this is it.
Didn't set his line. The wide receiver moved, but the line was not set.
Ruggiero goes back. Looking over the middle. He wants to throw deep. He's going for it all. And in the end zone, Stacy Nalen. And Nolan can't get that one. And it drops incomplete and pretty much wraps it up.
I would think so.
Well, as a desperation Hail Mary, had Nolan there, but he was double covered. And with 28 seconds to go, and no way of stopping the clock, all they have to do is take the snap from center, and that'll be the ball game. Well, Rich, it's time for you to head down in the field with your Player of the Game award. Who do you like?
Very tough. We always like to see somebody from the winning team get it, but I think tonight Mike Simmons was definitely the top performer on the field, and also just because of Coach Bluth's tenacity going for it with 10 seconds, calling a timeout with 20 seconds to go and getting that big TD. Well, I think we're going to give it to both of them, but Simmons was the player on the field, but you got to credit Coach.
All right, we'll see you down there on the field.
Okay.
Well, we have a timeout, 16 seconds to go, and that is the last timeout for Bellflower. As my partner, Rich Australia, makes his way down to the field. Mike Simmons, unfortunately, is not here to accept the award tonight. Of course, he was injured there on the final couple of minutes of the ball game when Bellflower was knocking on the door, getting ready to take the lead, but unfortunately had a big turnover, which really ended up being their downfall here this evening. Coach Bluth out there right now. Not much you can say except pray for a miracle, guys. Just a great, great effort by this Bellflower Ball Club. They have a lot to be proud of. They should hold their heads high. And this will be the last play. And Serta just falls down. And there's 10 seconds in counting, and that's going to do it. Okay, we've got 5-4, and this one is over. Downey wins it 14-12. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the player of the game. That coming up next. All right, time now to go down in the field with Rich Australia for the Sports Channel player of the game. Rich?
And we're here standing with head coach Doug Bluth, and Coach came very, very close tonight. But before we talk a little bit about the ball game, would like to present this trophy to you on behalf of Mike Simmons, who did an outstanding job and was named as the Sports Channel player of the game. Congratulations, Coach.
Well, thank you very much on behalf of Mike. There's no question that he's one of many on this team that deserves it. But we accept that wholeheartedly, and I know this team supports you in that decision. And we sure invite you to come back again because we know you're all good luck to us. No question about that.
Coach Bluth, again, a lot of gutsy play tonight. You guys hung in there. I know it was a short week for you, and you guys did an excellent job, and it looks like things just may be turning around the corner for Bellflower.
Oh, they're turned, sir. They're turned. We got bright eyes under those helmets, and we got big hearts on the sleeves. We're just not too far from getting around. We just got to get a little more experience with me, with the players, and all the coaches. It's been a short 3 days, but we're so proud of them. We're really happy, but we're sad. But we're going to get better. No question about that.
Okay, Coach Booth, thanks again. And again, on behalf of Sports Channel and Continental Cablevision, this goes to Mike Simmons as player of the game.
Thank you, sir.
Back up to you, Steve.
Okay. Thank you, Rich. And we'd like to remind you of the final here. Downey wins it 14-12, a hard-fought contest. And Bellflower looking very impressive all the way. No, not given much chance to win this, but they came through with a strong showing. Knocked on the doorstep, but couldn't cash it in. And this game was brought to you by Ads Floor Covering. Serving the Mid-Cities area with the finest in floor and window covering since 1945, your local Armstrong Floor Fashion Center. And by the Sports Channel, sponsor of tonight's Player of the Game Award, where the season never ends. I'd like to remind you the next telecast will be the Edison Chargers versus St. John Bosco Braves. And, of course, that game will be next week, and you'll be able to see it on October 7th and 11th. All right, once again, the final 14-12, a great showing for Bellflower. For Rich Australia, I'm Steve Gilman. Thanks for being with us.